everyone, and welcome to Simply Made Homestead. Now, it is summertime and the okra is coming in. It's coming in faster than we can eat it. So, and we get out there, okra, it grows really, really fast. So we harvest every morning and every evening. And now it's coming in where we could actually make a meal out of each harvest that we go out there. So, and we love okra, but I love it even more than my husband loves it. I'll eat it any way you can put it. But my husband will only eat it fried or dried. He loves it dried. But today we're going to fluff up our freezer and put some okra away. And I want to show you how we go about doing that. Now this is a bag that I've started right here. As you can see, it's already been breaded. This is homegrown okra right there. Yep, beautiful, beautiful okra. So once I get a nice batch, which actually I probably would have done this even before now, but you see this? That's just from, I don't know, about 3 days worth right there. And some of them, the ones I'd had cut for a couple of days, I did put them in a sink of water today and just rehydrated them and just made them really like they just came off the plant. So I'm going to show you how to do this right here, and it is the yummiest, most delicious fried okra, and show you just how easy it is. All right, now before we get started, if videos like this are of interest to you, or if you enjoy videos like this, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like this video once you get through it, and if you like it, please like it, give us a thumbs up. It really helps us out a lot. Okay, what we're gonna need, I have 3 bowls here. You can have any kind of bowl, pot, whatever, as long as it holds stuff, you'll be good to go. I've got salt and pepper, and then I have all-purpose flour. And for this big batch right here, all of this, I have 6 eggs. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get my eggs in my pan. And I'm gonna use the medium-sized bowl for the eggs. So we're just gonna get them cracked and in the pan. Got a shell in there. And then we'll get them all beat up, and I am going to season the eggs. I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper them. There we go. Get my hands off there. I like to wipe up and clean up as I go. All right. Grab a fork. Let's go ahead and salt and pepper them. I have dropped my fork in the eggs. I'm gonna give it some good seasoning. Because this is going through a lot of egg. Give it some good seasoning there. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're gonna get this all beat up. I like it well beaten. I like it beaten up well. Well beaten. Oh Lord. You can tell I hang around the grandkids a lot. All right, there we go. There's that. I'm gonna save that fork because I use that a little bit to kind of help flip it around. And then these 2 bowls right here, we are going to add flour to. Just plain old all-purpose flour. And just start out with some, and you can always add to it if you need to. And this is gonna be my final bowl, okay? Once we get the okra cut up, we're gonna have an assembly line. We'll have flour, egg, and flour again, okay? And then once it goes through the final flour, we're gonna put it all on a cookie sheet where we're gonna put it into the freezer. All right, so first thing we need to do, get this out of the way, make sure that's not in the way, is start cutting and just get it all cut up. Now I cut them about a 1/2 inch thick, just like that. And that's it. Just like that. All right, and you can go ahead and you can throw them in this first pan here. And just continue on. We're gonna make it super easy. We're gonna literally cut every bit of this okra up and put it in this first bowl. Now, some of my okra, sometimes it can hide from you out there. You know, it can get on a leaf that you don't see when you're out there harvesting, or it can have its side branches, because once it starts getting up, I cut a nice one off the side branches first this morning, and that was the first one like that, off a side branch, a big one. And they can get away with you. Okay, now, I'm gonna finish what I was saying first. The side branches, you have to be sure and look really good, because they can get away from you. And if it gets too big, it'll get woody. And this one is too woody. And how I know that, listen, you hear that? You hear how it's really crunchy? We don't want to eat that. Now I can keep that and I can put it in there on my drying rack, which I'll do. I'll put it in there on my drying rack, or you can give it to the chickens. So since it's so early in the season, I may do that. They are really enjoying the garden, the scraps and things like that from the garden. But you see how tender? I mean, once you cut into one that's too big, you'll know it. There's no mistake in it, so don't stress about that. And if you decided you wanted to go ahead and try it and cook it, you go right ahead. But it'll be like eating straw. It's not enjoyable. So I'm gonna continue cutting these, and then I'll bring you back once I get them all cut up. It's starting to rain out there. All right, here we go. I do want to add in here, this is the Clemson Spineless, and I do let them get about 6 inches long before I harvest them. They do really well like that at about 6 inches for frying. I mean, they're still very tender, but the only reason when they're about 4 inches, if I want to pickle them, which we will get to that, I'll take them off at about 4 inches. But at 6 inches, they're still good. They are really, and you get more okra in your harvest that way. So now I've got them all in the bowl. You see that? Got them all in the bowl there, and underneath that is flour. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna season this as well, right on top of where we are, in the bowl there. Lots of salt and pepper, lots of flavor. And then I'm just going to start tossing it around and coating the okra with the flour. There we go, see? It's just nicely coated, just like that, okay? All right, next we're gonna go to the egg. I don't know why I'm rinsing my hand off. I do that all the time. Just got a thing about washing my hands. Okay, let me get my tray. Here is our cookie sheet. I'm gonna put that down there. So here we are. We've got our okra that we have cut up, and some of these are literally almost 1 inch thick. So you cut them to whatever size you want. I would recommend at least a 1/2 inch, 3/4 is a really good size. Gives you a nice big crunchy bite. Now some people will put these off to the side, like on a cookie sheet, and you can let them kind of dry a bit. I have done that. Honestly, I can't really tell a difference between going ahead and just dunking them over into the egg. So I really don't do that. Sometimes I'll do that, like with shrimp. If I'm gonna put like a, what you call it? The crispy, crunchy outer crust thingy. All right, and then we'll just take, I've got a nice few hands of okra that I've shook the flour off. And then I'm going to just, I use the fork. For one thing, I don't have my skin. It's like, I don't know, it kind of rubs the flour off. I just gently move it around there, just like that, okay? And then I'll take a slotted spoon and just get a little okra at a time and dump it over here in this bowl. Now, I know, like, I have loved watching, or used to when we still had cable, love watching the Food Network, and you know, you have the wet hand and the dry hand. I don't know. That never worked for me. I ended up with both hands in my stuff and just was a mess. So anyway, this is how I do it, and it works. So you do it however it works best for you. All right, now, if I had parchment paper, which I'm out, that is where I would have parchment paper on my cookie sheet. It's really not a big deal not to have it, and it's a non-stick pan, but it does get kind of frozen to it, but I just let it sit out for about 5 minutes once it's frozen, and then I'll just rake it under there with a little spatula, and it comes right up. It is really not a big deal. So if you have parchment paper, use it. If you don't, that's okay too. Now, I like to sprinkle a little more over the top, just to kind of give a coating over the egg. See there? And kind of shake it around. And then, whoops, where'd you go? And then gently, I think I should have done my bowls the other way, had the bigger one as my last bowl. But that's okay. It's gonna work out just great. And I make sure it's well coated with the flour. And then I just back and forth in my hand to get the excess flour off, and then onto the cookie sheet. Now you'll see a little bit of excess flour on the cookie sheet. It's just like falling from your hands. And it's not a big deal. And you can use however many cookie sheets you have and however much room you have in your freezer. And I do spread them out. You don't want them like on top of each other. It's good to have them spread it out, and that way they can freeze individually and not have too terribly many on a pan either. So they can have, you know, just a little bit of space in between them. Nothing grand, nothing great and wonderful, just a little space just to keep them from being stuck together. It just makes it a little easier when you get them out and get ready to fry them. All right, now I don't know if I said this in the beginning, so I'm gonna say it now, just in case I didn't. I do, whenever I bring my okra in, I do rinse it really well. And like I said, after I try not to let it sit up, which in the beginning, when you're having to collect, you know, you're only getting a few off at a time, you need to collect some okra to have enough to eat. It can sit there, and sometimes it gets kind of, you know, kind of like it looks in the grocery store. But if you put it in some nice cold water, it really plumps it back up, and it looks like you just picked it out of the garden. All right, now I've got 2 pans here because one was getting pretty full, and I didn't want to overfill it, so this one's not quite full enough, but that's okay. We're gonna use the 2 pans so we can keep them nice and separated. And let me get my hands washed up, and we'll go stick these in the freezer. All right, now I am going to stick this anywhere I can find a spot. which my freezer is actually looking much lower than it usually does. So there you go. You see it, it's just kind of balanced up in there. All right, guys, I am going to leave that in there for a couple of hours, and then we'll come back and we'll let it sit out for just a couple of minutes and to let it release from the pan a little bit and put it in the bag. So stick with me, just a second or two for you. We'll be back and I'll show you how to do that. All right, here they are, nice and frozen. And so we're going to just take them off the tray and throw them in this Ziploc bag. And once I get a nice big bag of that, I'll start another bag. Because we love fried okra. And we have lots of grandbabies that come to visit. And all the kids love fried okra. We just all grew up on fried okra. So we'll have plenty to share with everybody. And everybody gets really excited when they find out what's on the menu. And one of them is fried okra. I think I'm the only one, though, that'll eat it any way you put it. I don't know. I take that back. My youngest, or my boys, Josh and Adam, I think they'll pretty much eat it any way you cook it. But there you go, guys. This is our favorite way to eat okra. All right, now look at that. I believe this bag is done. I'm hoping it's gonna close. That is a big bag of breaded okra, ready to fry. Oh, that's exciting. And y'all, I swear, the season has just begun. And okra, when you're in a hot climate where we are, it will grow and grow and grow until the first frost comes. And last year, I put up okra until I was tired of okra. Plus, I was excited about my garden because it was our first year. And I ended up cutting it down before, and it was still producing plenty. Well, this year it has its own little bed, and we're gonna let it go until time for the frost to come, and we're gonna let the frost take it out. I am not gonna do it because we ran out of okra to fry. We ran out of pickled okra real fast, so we're gonna putting up a lot more okra this year. All right, guys, if you like videos on what to do with okra, we've got other ways coming, so you need to stay tuned. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. And don't forget to subscribe. We really would appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, please share us with your friends and family and all across social media. It would really help us out a bunch. Until next time, take care and God bless.